On this week's episode of the Crushing Debt Podcast, meet Henry. So welcome back to this week's episode of the Crushing Debt Podcast. My name is Shawn Yesner, owner and founder of H.E.N.R.Y, and I have with us your financial coach, George Curbelo. How you doing, George?
Doing well. I'm looking forward to hearing who this Henry guy is and what it means to me. But I'm doing well, man. Lot of rain here in Florida. And one advice to you that I would say, unfortunately, my wife went through, don't go through standing water. In driving a car, it could be deeper than you think. So
it definitely will be. That is a lesson I learned. Although growing up, when I first learned how to drive, 16, 17, when you're kind of an idiot.
Yeah.
What me and my friends would do is we would try to get rid of the puddle by displacing the water.
Well, that's fun, though.
By driving through the puddle as fast as we could.
Right.
Not realizing that after we displace the water, it just runs back to the lowest point, which is what we just ran over. But either that, or maybe we thought it washed the underside of our car.
That too,
that's
you were trying to be responsible in that sense, but no.
That's one of those things. Alligators and standing water
Oof.
on roads after a rain. That is one of those.
Be
things.
careful out there. We thought we had officially totaled the car. We were a little worried, but we did fortunately or unfortunately survived some of the torrential rain we've been getting, and the car is safe. I was a little worried we'd have to dip into the emergency fund, but we avoided that situation. Right. So that was good.
Well, we've been impacted by the rain as well. We so soccer season started.
Yes.
for my older son. Soccer started 3-4 weeks ago.
Nice already.
In that 3-4 week span of time, we've had one practice.
Oh my God, that's a lot of rain. Right. Yeah, but it has rained in the evenings here, so that makes total sense. That's
you know what they say about Florida weather.
What's that?
If you don't like it, just wait 5 minutes.
Well, you got to wait like 30 minutes with these rains. So
yeah,
it's a little crazy.
So
I just want to also say I'm really sorry about the FSU start of the season, my friend. I know it's going to be it was a rough few weeks there, buddy.
It's almost so now I know what being a Mets fan is like.
I was a Jets fan. A little bit more accurate there, but that's okay, buddy. Hey, it's still young in the season.
Yeah, we kind of knew this year would be a rebuilding year, so something I'm gonna have to suffer through.
Hey.
So anyway.
We move on as edit over. Let's move over.
Edit over. And when this episode, so as we record, we're getting ready to go into the bye week, our first bye week. I don't think we're going to lose this week.
Thank you.
When this episode comes out, we'll be getting ready for I think Memphis, our coach's old team. So we'll see how we do at home against Memphis. We'll see if he's able to at least right the ship a little bit.
Yeah.
But you know what helps me.
What helps you?
You know what helps me focus on these games as I'm suffering in my FSU fandom here.
I would imagine.
First is Bloody Marys. That's the first thing that helps me. But then my Magic Mind.
Yes, indeed.
My Magic Mind helps me. It helps me get done what I need to get done during the day so that I am ready to watch the game when it comes on TV. And I can focus and I can knock out some work. I mean, now with my schedule adjusting, I need to focus. When I'm here at work, I need to focus when I'm here at work. And so Magic Mind really helps. There's no sugar high. There's no sugar crash. It tastes great. And it helps me focus.
That's it. Tastes great, no jitters. I think that's important whenever you're using these types of drinks itself. And I think that's for me that's important. I want to make sure I feel good, and it gets me the energy boost that I need without actually having to worry about the lows or those highs that come with that. So
you know who else likes focus?
What's that?
Henry.
Who is this Henry guy?
Who is this Henry guy? You want to tell us who Henry is?
So it's funny you go on the internets and you're doing the TikToks and all of these kind of things as the young kids today do, but it's you get these acronyms and it's hilarious what these acronyms are, but some of us might relate. It's just an acronym in regards to you're a high earner and not rich yet. That's what Henry stands for. So
H.E.N.R.Y.
A
High
lot-
earner, not rich.
that's
yet.
all it is. That's all it is. So, if you, some of us out there, obviously entrepreneurs, small business owners, people who work in corporate, you make good money and yet you feel like you're not getting ahead. That's that feeling. But in this case, it's, you're a high earner and just you feel like you're not rich. What does that mean? Like, well, when we're not feeling where we're not rich, even though we make good income.
So interesting. I looked it up on the internet as well. The term Henry was coined in a 2003
That far back?
Fortune
Really?
magazine article written by Shawn Tully,
Interesting.
who spells his first name correctly, Shawn Tully, to refer to a segment of families earning between $250,000 and $500,000, but not having much left after taxes, schooling, housing, and family costs, not to mention saving for an affluent retirement.
Right.
So, the interesting thing, I'm reminded of a bankruptcy case that I'm in the middle of right now. This guy earned $500,000 a year. Unfortunately, lost his job. Hasn't been able to find another one, and so we had really no choice to stave off the creditors other than filing a bankruptcy for him.
Right.
And the bankruptcy trustee is just floored that you made $500,000 a year. What? Why do you need to file bankruptcy?
Right.
Well, you had a divorce that was super expensive, a child custody battle that was super expensive. Just because you have $500,000 in income doesn't mean you take home $500,000. He had taxes.
Yep.
He had insurance costs, health insurance costs. Has anyone been to the grocery store lately? Has anyone paid, their the utility bills lately?
No.
I mean, $500,000 doesn't. And when you make that much money and you're used to living that lifestyle.
The lifestyle itself, correct. Here's the thing. We think of it as we add zeros and we feel like adding zeros, more income, making more money, it's a guarantee that, life is going to be easier, right? There's no worries, no issues. I get that. Those kind of decisions make it a little easier when you have more money to be able to work through. But you're right. You make $500,000, right? But you still have expenses. Let's say you know this as a business owner, right? You make $500,000. That means you have $500,000. No. Exactly. That means the business. You have to have stuff for the business. You have stuff that you have to pay your employees. You have expenses that you have to deal with. Then you give yourself a salary as well. So there's a lot of it's easy to just give you a number. Oh, you make $500,000. Yeah, that's great. But you don't realize some of the other things that may be entailed. Now, I agree. We spend a lot. Yeah. We do spend a lot. So the more zeros you add to your salary as well, you're probably more likely that lifestyle is what's getting us into trouble. But you're rich in a sense of like, I make good money. But what is the feeling of being rich? What is it that's like your definition of being rich? I would imagine, Shawn, could be different from ours, from mine, from the listeners as well. So it's really just understanding like, okay, what is that definition? And then applying it to your situation. What is it that you would want when it comes to making good money and then that definition of being rich?
Yeah, and I think, it like you said, it could be a bunch of different things. It could be family. You feel like family and friends make you rich. It could be money that you feel like makes you rich. It could be passive income that you think makes you rich. It could be a high-earning job. It could be investments. It could be your money returning money to you. It could be real estate ownership makes you rich. There's all kinds, like you said, there's all kinds of different definitions. And I think the interesting thing about a Henry is they're not there yet.
Right.
They can get there.
The potential. That's what they keep. There's potential to be a rich individual.
So what if you think you are a Henry or you are a Henry?
I'm a George, but I get you there.
But so what do you do? How do you take that next step to then actually become
so
rich?
Obviously defining what rich is easy. What is the number that you're looking for that says I am rich? For you it could be $1 million, someone else could be 10 million, right? $1 million, most folks can do $1 million through their home, right? Through maybe some 401k or those kind of investments. So that having a plan that allows you to be able to save more, to invest wisely in some of these things, I think that can get you there, from that standpoint.
Right.
If you're talking now like I want to be Warren Buffett type rich, there's other things
You've
you would
got
need to do.
To be Warren Buffett type rich, you have to invest in your retirement. You
Yep.
have to invest outside your retirement. You have to have passive income coming into you.
Money's making money, things like that.
Yeah,
Exactly.
there's a lot that you have to do. I am nowhere near Warren Buffett. I am a thousandaire. Does that count?
I'm like Warren G, or maybe what? Like, no, I get, but that, yeah, 1,000.
I'm like Warren, the fifth grader at my kid's elementary school. That's the Warren.
That's
like.
the Warren you're. But here's the thing: it's good to have those types of goals, right? What's realistic for the income that you're kind of making itself? You have to have a plan, though. What's the budget doing? What are you doing with the money you're spending? Are you spending it wisely? Are we putting it in areas that allow you for that growth to be able to take you to the next level? Because it's easy to like, oh, I'll just make money, no big deal. We'll figure things out later. And I think if you have to be a little bit more intentional to be ahead and really start to put yourself on that next level of the rich, and trying to get you to that level as well.
Well, and so this article, Henrys are labeled as working rich, as their rich status is largely attributed to their working income, not their accumulated wealth. So the types of professions we're talking about, doctors, lawyers, CPAs,
corporate CEOs, guy like that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And entrepreneurs as well. I got you. Yep.
Henrys can move to wealth by reducing debt and increasing savings and investments.
Makes sense?
Yeah. Easy, right?
Easy. Like, God, why we haven't thought about this before?
Although, then the article goes on to say, Henrys are a prime target for luxury marketing. So they're talking about things like Louis Vuitton, Tag Heuer. Some of these name brands, expensive name brands, are targeting now Henrys because they're rich in cash. They're rich in salary.
Right.
They're not rich in investments. They're not rich in passive income, that kind of stuff.
Yep. I mean, some of the common struggles for our Henrys, right? What are some of the things that we keep, I guess, kind of dealing with? You had mentioned lifestyle, right? The inflation of life. There's always lifestyle is always going to increase. You're going to want more. You're going to want that new car. You're going to want. So again, it's behaviors that really stop us and get us into trouble when it comes to being a Henry. The biggest thing too I've seen is those student loans where we're our student loans, if we're carrying those, but also our kids, if we're getting ready to send our next generation of kids, if we don't have a game plan, student loans could be one of those that really keep you as a high earner but never get you to that level of being rich. So
well, if you look at it, so my dad was a CPA. I knew I wanted to be an attorney. My debt will be paid off in 4-ish years, 3.5-ish years, just in time to be able to finance my oldest son to go to college.
There you go.
So, and then if you look at the professions that they're talking about in this category, the doctors, lawyers, that kind of thing, lawyers can graduate law school. Doctors definitely graduate medical school with 6 figures of student loan debt.
Easily.
And then the problem you get into is when you start to get into that 300, 400, 500 and more salary range, your taxes go up.
Right.
And so you're paying more in taxes than you would be otherwise. So those are two huge. If you can reduce your taxes and you can somehow figure out a way to reduce the student loan burden, that's a great way to get out of that category.
Big time. And a lot of us, it's funny when you are doctors, lawyers, right? Aren't a lot of the banks, when they're lending you, like you can get a house and things like that on the earning potential that you have. So, and that's scary because they're like, oh, you can make $500,000. You have the potential. So you overpay for a home that you might not be able to afford. Let's assume something doesn't go your way. So these are, again, we put ourselves in these situations. We just got to be, don't go too lofty on our lifestyle. Kind of like, here's where I'm at today. And as the money and everything grows, let the lifestyle grow with you. And I think that's another thing we got to be careful from that, at least from that standpoint.
Yeah, and that's what this one article that we found says. Instead of being happy with their existing house, they want to upgrade
Right.
to a forever home.
Right.
Make your existing home a forever home and save some money there. Although you just bought a new home, right?
Yeah, but that's our forever home. That's that. I am not forever leaving. This is I'm stuck here. So Florida not kicking me out anytime soon.
Instead of being happy with a Toyota Highlander, they want to drive a Mercedes G550.
Yep.
Or at this point a Cybertruck.
Whatever.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
Although a local public school is well rated and free, a Henry might opt to send their child to private school. Now, if you've got the money to afford it, knock yourself out.
Right,
absolutely go for it.
But that's the thing. If we're gonna complain about why do I not feel rich, it's an internal problem. It's the choices you're making. I need these things. It's what puts us in that situation where we're not getting to that level of rich passive income making money.
So it all goes back to mindset.
It's much as I'd like to say, because you guys have the mindset as a Henry, you can make money. That's not the problem. Is not making the money. It's what we do with the money. And a lot of the folks who are rich and build wealth are really around. They're not spending it. Some of that money goes for investing and building more money, building that wealth, not just having money at the time.
So we did find an interesting article here. 3 financial moves you should consider if you're a high earner who isn't rich yet.
Right.
Although it's kind of weird. Tip number 1 is invest outside of your retirement accounts. So don't just rely on the retirement accounts. Invest outside of that. I think that's the passive income piece.
Yeah, doing more than just that. Yeah, makes sense. Yep.
But then tip number 2 is lower your taxable income by contributing to a retirement account.
Wait, doesn't 1 and 2 kind of work together? But okay, so
sure,
1.5,
I guess. And then number 3 is double check your retirement strategy with a financial professional.
Okay.
So aren't 1, 2, and 3 all the same thing?
It's a little bit, it's a little deceiving in regards to the 3. But yes, it is all related. We need to make sure that, we're doing more than just the house or more than just the retirement. There's investments, there's things that we're doing that the money can start to really grow. That makes total sense. I mean, I don't know. I think the biggest thing that I would say too is, most people it's easy to make money. There's no plan. You just make it, you spend it. You make it, you spend it. Oh, we'll save. And some people will be good at saving. So maybe having an emergency fund, those kind of things are in place. But it's not. It's the other things. It's the spending. It's where are we spending? You're right. The private school. We're doing all of these other things. You have to have a plan in regards to if this is important enough for you to do, we need to have a plan in place that allows us to be able to do more of that saving, spending towards that rich or the wealth building. That's the word I was looking for. Sorry.
So one of the other articles we found. Do you spend money like a D.I.N.K or a Henry?
What's up with all these acronyms?
Another acronym. And at first I thought it was something that I would have to put like an explicit tag on the show.
Yeah, we're not. But what's a D.I.N.K?
Dual income, no kids. D.I.N.K. Dual income, no kids. So,
are you a D.I.N.K or are you a Henry? Okay, all right. Well, so
although I guess they could sort of be the same thing.
I would think so as well.
Newlyweds who are both working have had no children yet. Long-term couples who have chosen not to have kids. Older couples whose children are grown and independent.
Yeah.
Key characteristics of a D.I.N.K style. Higher disposable income since they don't have child-related expenses.
Right.
I mean, I can tell you a lot of the debt that Melanie and I took on in the early years was paying for daycare and preschool and childcare.
Absolutely. Very expensive.
And medical deductibles for all the visits and the immunizations and all that kind of stuff.
I mean, childcare today, I mean, when we were spending, it was maybe $150 a week. You're talking now it's like $300 a week, and I don't know how people do it, in regards to that. Especially, we live in a society that is, you need dual income. It's not just we can live on one income anymore. There's a need and requirement to truly if you want to live comfortably, you need two incomes coming into the home.
Yeah, I mean I have to send my kids, not have to. I send my
choose
I
to.
choose to. My younger son, my older son is aged out. My
Yeah.
younger son goes to the county recreational center after school.
Yep.
And that's $60 every 2 weeks.
Not too bad.
So it's not too bad. $120 a month on
For a few
average.
hours.
Some months it's $180
Yeah.
because it's every 2 weeks, but for the most part it's 120 to 180 a month, but that's still, what is that, 12 to 14 1500 a year
A year, yeah.
to send the kids.
And that's just a few hours, after school. I agree. So I mean, it's still, the expense is always there, especially if you have to. You got to work. You have to be available to be able to make that money. So a lot of folks are struggling with that. So even if you are, no kid commitment at that point, that's fantastic because you get, I guess with kids, I would say there's a huge commitment for those first 18 years. When you're just working, just a couple working, you have a little bit more freedom. But you have to just be careful in regards to what what are you spending your money on?
Yeah. I remember, not necessarily dual income, but before I got married, without kids.
Yeah.
It didn't matter. I could work from 7 in the morning
Right.
until 10, 11 o'clock at night. I was making money hand over fist. I lived in a small house because it was just me.
Right.
I don't think I was a Henry in terms of income level, but I was close. So key differences between dual income and Henrys. Although these two terms are often used in conjunction, the
Yeah.
financial situations differ significantly.
Okay.
Dual income have more discretionary income, while Henrys have higher expenses.
Makes sense.
Dual income can save and invest more aggressively, while Henrys are saddled with debt.
Not necessarily, but okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, maybe from a credit card, from a
Right.
student loan perspective, maybe.
Well, and you just said kids' expenses that
Right.
that you may not be related to someone who doesn't have the kids. So okay.
Dual income enjoy greater lifestyle flexibility, while Henrys live
Flexibility.
paycheck to paycheck.
Okay, so they do have flexibility because they're not, there's no kids. There's no, I mean, unless you have fur babies,
Right.
you have some obligations. But so again, they're saying that high earners, live paycheck to paycheck. Although I know dual income people can do the same thing. All right, so
I think it all comes down to mindset and
it
spending
depends.
and budgeting and
yeah,
the whole 9 yards.
it depends. It depends on that one. But okay, interesting.
Dual income retire earlier, while Henrys may face financial struggles later in life if they don't change their habits.
Okay, so you're assuming the dual income folks are doing the right things,
Right.
when it comes to that. So I think you could still be a high earner and still be doing what's needed. I agree with you there, though. There's a higher potential for your, if you have no kids, it is just the two of you, to be able to save more, to be able to put yourself in a position where you could retire early.
Right.
But what's retirement, right? It's like maybe you just start your own business and you don't work because you have to. You work because you want to, kind of thing. So,
Right.
Okay, all right.
What is a Henry millennial?
Oh boy, here we go.
Millennial Henry.
Going down the rabbit hole. But what is a Henry millennial then?
Similar to a traditional Henry.
Okay, well, duh.
This is going to be anticlimactic, but similar to a traditional Henry, a millennial Henry are those in their early 30s earning a six-figure salary. These individuals, especially if they live in a high cost of living area, may leave them struggling to make ends meet or pay current bills despite having a very large income.
Totally makes sense.
Makes sense. And rent's gone up.
Rent is up. Well, you said
Interest rates
food,
are up.
interest is, insurance. You have, just car expenses now. The average car expense, all of those things are up. And what we're trying to do as a Henry, right? Sometimes we put ourselves where it's like, I need to keep up, again, keeping up with the Joneses.
Right.
I need to have a lifestyle. I have expectations. Well, I make a lot of money. I should be driving the best car. I should have the nicest home. I should have, 8 million decorations for Halloween on September 3rd. These are things that you have from an expect. Does it make it correct or right? In some cases, you have to kind of self-reflect and really understand what it is that you're trying to do. Especially at 30, there's so much potential. And if you're already feeling like you're not getting ahead at 30 years old, like, okay, time out. Let's reassess where we're at.
Yeah, and I agree. I found another one. Hang on. What is an? I've got to figure this one out now. What is an ALICE?
Oh no, more
Apparently,
acronyms.
but
Okay,
when
now the
I-
rabbit hole's getting too.
when I
too
try
wide
to
there.
click on the link, it asks me to subscribe.
Well,
or
of course
log
they
in.
want you
I'm
to
not gonna do
pay
that.
for it. Well, there you go, Alice. You're not getting.
No, but
You're not getting that.
but the great internet. Let's see. What is an ALICE?
Real time. I love this.
Oh, what is an ALICE household?
Oh, there's a household now. Okay.
So, ALICE households are those who earn above the federal poverty level but struggle to afford basic expenses.
Okay, so it's just the opposite end of the spectrum.
It's the opposite end. So, how do you get from ALICE to Henry to
rich or whatever, Warren
Whatever.
Buffett.
Here
Whatever.
it is. ALICE stands for Asset Limited Income Constrained Employed.
Okay. Okay, that seemed really too long. But yes, it's funny how. What do you do when you're? For me, a lot of people start here, right? But as we get older, some people are at this level, like they're struggling to, they're working to just work, keep the bare essentials. But what if you're not doing enough to keep the lights on, and struggling to do that? I mean, there's a lot of people when we talk about the federal minimum wage and just, could you live off of, $7, $10, even $15 an hour today, assuming you can get a 40-hour work week. Most people can't. I mean, especially in Florida with the prices of rent. I mean, most people, if you work, you could maybe barely, get a studio apartment that you can live in, but then that's it. That's all you have money for.
Yeah.
So there's that's a huge struggle. And what do you do at when you're at that level? It's getting the support and help needed to be able to maybe start a business and to earn that income. Do something more. Get the support that's needed from family to be able to get you out of those situations. But that can be helpless sometimes when you're at that level.
So ALICE households span all races, ages, ethnicities,
Yeah,
and abilities. Include workers whose wages cannot keep up with the rising cost of goods and
That's it.
services.
Yes.
Often include those who are working 2 or more jobs and still cannot pay their bills. Include
That's
family
common.
members who need care and assistance, which makes it harder for the caregiver to find adequate work.
Right.
Live paycheck to paycheck and are forced to make impossible choices, pay the rent or buy food,
Right.
receive medical care or pay for child care, pay utility bills or put gas in the car, and are part of every community nationwide. I mean, those are people I work with almost on a daily basis.
Right, and that's the sad part is like it's not their fault in most of these cases, and it's not their fault that it's just maybe not the right job, not the right they don't have the education. It could be circumstance, but it's one of those kind of things. Like what can we do to help folks to be able to get out of that situation? That's the hard part. So if you're a Henry, you're very happy. And very blessed and grateful to be at that level, because know that there's other people who struggle to make that ends meet. Which is for me, it's like what can we do to help folks in those times of needs?
Yeah, we're kind of getting to the end of the episode. I just decided to Google financial slang
Okay,
just to see what came up.
Oh gosh,
So
this could be another episode, and we're gonna in the near future we'll like what are some of the other terms that are out there?
So big uglies
Oh gosh,
are older companies.
Okay.
Dead cat bounce, a small, short-lived rise in the price of a falling security. So I guess if it drops in price, but then has a little spike
Right.
and then keeps going down, that's a dead cat bounce.
Okay.
Ankle biter, small cap investment. Bagel land, a slang term that represents a stock or other security that is approaching $0 in price.
Got it.
Bacon, we know what bacon is. Money, bringing home the bacon.
Bacon.
Bands, paper money held together by a rubber band, usually $10,000 or more. Let's see. Bank rolls of paper money. Benjamins refer to Ben Franklin, whose portrait's on the $100 bill.
Mm-hmm.
We could probably make an entire new episode.
I could see us already.
28 slang words used by traders. 80 plus slang words for money.
I mean, some of the ones you should know, my friend, and we can do that. But YOLO, remember YOLO, FOMO.
Yeah.
You know this. So yes, I feel like we definitely have a huge future episode, and I'm glad that the Henry has started the roller coaster of financial slang here that we all love and use.
Yeah, but I think that'll be maybe the in a coming week episode. But for now, I think we're gonna maybe kind of put an end to this week's episode.
I appreciate the Henrys out there.
Yeah, meeting Henry and all of his friends.
Yeah, a lot. Keep working hard, and little adjustments it can go a long way. So just keep that in mind when it comes to, earning money and what do we do it. Just be intentional, have a plan. For me, that's my advice to most people. Is just be intentional, have a plan, my friend. That's all.
And again, if you one of the ways you can do that is by getting sponsorships. One of the ways you can do that is by focusing on what it is that you want and your plan and your goals. So again, thank you very much to Magic Mind for their sponsorship of our show. And, definitely go to, I forgot to give out the code earlier. It's magicmind.com/crushing20. And then you also enter the code crushing20. That'll give you 20% off your first order. You can order either recurring, you can order a one-time, you can order in a pack of 15, you can order in a pack of 30. Obviously, we recommend the subscription to 30.
Absolutely.
But do you.
Try it first, and I guarantee you will get your subscription.
Exactly. But you only get the 20% off once. Patreon, if you want to help support us, you can go to patreon.com/crushingdebt. We're always happy to hear your suggestions. We want your feedback. We want to help keep the show relevant and good for you all, for the listeners. And then again, our longtime friend, our longtime sponsor, Sam Cohen with Attorneys First Insurance. A great way to support Sam would be is if you know a title company or an attorney that wants to get a quote on their malpractice coverage, you can refer them to Sam at attorneysfirst.com. That's the only type of insurance he does, malpractice insurance, and only for attorneys and title companies. So it doesn't matter where you are in the U.S., if you own a title company or a law firm, or if you know the owner of a title company or law firm, please send them over Sam's way. But I think we are done with Henry and his friends.
It was fun. It was fun, Shawn, as usual.
Yeah, absolutely. So we hope that whether you're Henry, whether you're Alice, whether you're dual income, we hope that D.I.N.K. We hope that you have more money at the end of the month rather than month at the end of the money, and we'll talk to you in next week's episode.